Listen to what the Commerce Secretary had to say about Trump's tariffs and economic growth.
We have $1.2 trillion trade deficit. And what people don't really think about much is if you knock that down 25% and at a $900 billion trade deficit, that's 1% GDP for the United States of America. I mean, $300 billion of trade, 1% for America. And people just don't think about it. You start bringing those factories home, that's another point of GDP. You could have the gentleman in the Oval Office drive 2 and 3 points GDP to the United States of America from behind his desk. And that is just so much fun.
All right, economist EJ Antoni joins me now. All right, EJ, if we get tax cuts, tariff wins and deregulation, does the economy just take off? And I'm thinking 4 or 5% growth in the second half of this year. Is that possible?
Well, Varney, it's certainly possible. I think that's absolutely the case. Look, if we let history be our guide here, what happened under Reagan when they increased energy production, when they increased economic production more broadly? They did that through tax cuts, through deregulation, and they did that through sound monetary policy. All of these things created just absolutely gangbuster growth. That's what we have to look forward to if, and it's a big if, the president's agenda actually gets across the finish line. For that to happen, though, as was just said, Congress, frankly, needs to get off their rear ends and make it happen. They need to get this agenda across the finish line. They have to get a tax bill done, and it's got to be done soon. Let's not forget, part of that tax bill is going to be lifting the debt ceiling. Treasury's going to run out of cash in a matter of a month.
Okay, so what do we do? What happens on the market if we don't get all of these good things?
Oh, I think then the kind of swooning that we saw in April is going to be just a preview of what will happen if we don't, again, if we don't get the deregulation and the tax cuts done. If all you do is throw tariffs at this market, that's only adding negatives. It's not adding anything positive. In other words, the middle class under Joe Biden was basically drowning from 40-year high inflation and from the fastest rises in interest rates in 40 years. So you threw that drowning middle class an anchor, basically, with these tariffs. So unless you're going to build them the boat of the regulation cuts and the tax cuts, we're going to be in serious trouble. And I would throw into that, Stu, also another big component of this is going to be government spending cuts. We have to shrink government if we want the private sector to be able to grow.
Now, tomorrow, the Fed announces their rate decision. President Trump wants the Fed to lower rates. Should they?
Stuart, at this point, I don't think the Fed should be in the business of trying to raise or lower rates. And the reason I say that is because every time Powell makes a move in one direction or the other, it ends up being dead wrong. I mean, let's be honest. Jerome Powell is an attorney and a fraud masquerading as a banker and an economist. The fact of the matter is he has been wrong time and time again. He should not be trying to set rates. He should not be leading the market around by the nose. He should be following the market. He should be allowing markets to set rates. The only rate that he should be setting should be the discount rate. He should be setting it at a penalty above market rates. In other words, let the Fed be the lender of last resort, not the lender of first resort.
Okay, EJ Antoni, thanks for joining us. See you again real soon. Thanks, EJ.